Welcome to another episode of Tonight with Sean. In today's episode, I will be speaking about fear. Now, you may think you know fear and you may think you feel fear. Today, I'm going to talk to you about fear in ways that you probably never even imagined fear to be or even conceptualized fear to be. And the reason why you need to do that is because fear coming from your lower self, fear, what is up, Kareem, is very, very smart. What do I mean? Fear can outsmart you in ways, in angles that you never even imagined. That is why it is my responsibility to make this video and bring it to light. And by light, I mean awareness. By light, I mean consciousness. By light, I mean understanding. Once you understand, once you see the light, so to speak, which is the truth, fear then can no longer exist because fear itself has no principle. Truth has principle. Light has principle. Darkness can only exist in the absence of light. Cold can only exist in the absence of heat. So heat, light, positivity have the principle to exist. But fear does not. Fear is a shadow. It has no principle of existence. It cannot survive on its own. It requires you to feed it. What is up, Paul? So, if you don't understand fear and you think you do, and chances are if you're watching this video and you are thinking to yourself, I know fear, I understand fear, I know it, I'm smarter than it, I don't feel it, then chances are fear has outsmarted you. Because that is exactly what it wants you to do. It wants you to think that you have won. It wants you to think that you are better. It wants you to think that you are smarter, when actually fear has outsmarted you. What do I mean? Fear doesn't come in the form of just your heart pumping faster. Let me repeat that. Fear doesn't only... What is up, Chris? Fear doesn't only come in the form of making your heart beat faster. Most of the time, that is actually just your survival instinct, and that is a good thing. That may be adrenaline, which is a good thing as well. That could be your fight or flight response, which is a survival instinct, which is a good thing as well. So just because your heart beats faster doesn't mean it's fear. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean it's fear. Now, how can fear show up in your life? How can fear show up inside you in very sneaky ways that you probably don't even realize? Now, the most powerful way that fear can show up in your life and inside is through unconsciousness, by making you become more unconscious. Many times when people talk to me about wealth, or people talk to me about money, or people talk to me about accurate thinking, I didn't realize it, but over the years growing up and looking back, I realized that my own fear of moving into a world where I need to be responsible for my own finances, moving into a world where I need to be responsible to win, moving into a world where I need to strategize and start leading and playing to win, I look back and I realize that a lot of times fear stopped me from thinking. And you know how dangerous that is? Fear stopped me from thinking. Fear came to me and just whispered beside my ear and said, Sean, you don't need to do this. Fear came beside my ear and whispered to me, Sean, you don't need to learn about money. You can stay young forever. You can do sports forever. You can do martial arts forever. You do not need to learn how to plan. You do not need to learn how to invest. You do not need to learn how to get a high income skill. You are better than that. And that is how fear outsmarted me every step of the way. It comes to you and it actually tells you, don't be afraid, you don't need to do this. Now, the trouble is when this happens for too long, that voice becomes your voice and you start telling yourself, I don't need to do this, I don't need to try that, I don't need change, I don't need to go one level higher. And you start saying these things and you start telling others these things. So very, very subconsciously, fear can come in the form of ignorance, in the form of unconsciousness, telling you things that you like to hear and keeping you trapped in that place of ignorance and complacency. That is a very sneaky way that fear likes to show up in your life. Now, are you experiencing something like that? That is how the fear in you grows, because it's keeping you from growing. It's keeping you from facing what you need to face. It's keeping you from being courageous. And that is how fear succeeds. The other way, and by the way, how do I know that this happens? You know, when I do strategy calls for people and I listen to them, and they would tell me things like, Sean, I can't do this. I don't have what it takes. I am undisciplined. I am unfocused. I am uncommitted. I am depressed. I can't find the time. I can't find the resources. I can't find the money. And they keep saying all these things over and over again. And I'm like, you can stop right there. Just give me a no, and then we hang on the phone. Conversation is over. That's it. Offer is off the table. Right? When I do strategy calls and I get like people, their lower self is completely taking over, and say, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I find conversation is over. And instead of just giving me a no and hanging up the phone, they spend the next 5-10 minutes convincing me why they can't do anything. And like, why do you need to convince me? It's okay, just give me a no, conversation is over. Why are you saying all this to me? And do you know why they're saying all this to me? Chances are they're not even knowing that they are talking. They're not even knowing that they're saying these things. They are not even knowing that they are thinking of these things. And that is when I know that the fear has consumed them, and the fear is now speaking for them. To a point where they can't even control their thoughts, and they can't even control their decisions, and they go around telling people not to do what they have failed to do so that they can affirm their fear. That is when I know that the fear has completely consumed them and has unconsciously become their core motivation in life. When that happens, are they really living? If you have a life where everything you want to do, fear is your main motivation, are you really living? Because you're not very conscious anymore. It's this fear in you that always comes up and takes over and say, don't do this, don't do that, you can't try that, you don't have the resources, you can't be resourceful, you're not disciplined, you're not focused. And then that becomes your voice. Are you really living? That's a very sad way to live, isn't it? If that's the case, then for a lot of people, for people that unconsciously have fear as their core motivation and they are stuck, they are paralyzed in the lower selves, then to me, they are not really living. And for these people, when their heart stops beating, it's only going to be a formality, because they were never really alive. If you're alive, you should live in accordance with the truth. And here is the truth. When you affirm this truth to yourself, every error, every bit of negativity and every ounce of fear has to be destroyed and has to be purged. Because fear has no principle of existence on its own, and when you shine the light of truth and consciousness on it, it has to die. It is not real. It is false evidence appearing as real. Now, what is the truth? This is the truth. Instead of saying, I can't do this, I don't have what it takes, I'm not resourceful, whenever I hear this, I know that fear has consumed this person, and it's very, very hard for them to turn things around. Instead of saying these things, affirm the truth to yourself. What is the truth? The truth is, I am. Instead of saying all those negative things, you say to yourself, I am. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, prosperous, harmonious, and happy. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, prosperous, loving, and happy. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, prosperous, and happy. You should affirm this truth to yourself as long as you need to be to realize that this is the principle. This is what turns things into existence, and fear has no principle to exist. So the next time you see someone that is unconscious and fear has completely consumed them, and most of the time, you know what's the funny part? These people appear as the most courageous people. They speak loudly and they talk all the time and they have all the answers and they just look like they got everything, right? Most of the time, these people are the ones that are most unconscious. Because the fear has completely taken over. And I can tell you, fear is very, very sneaky. Like I say, it comes to you, it makes you unconscious. Once you're unconscious, it's very hard to self-check and it's very hard to self-reflect. And if you are always impeding yourself to get to the next level, how are you going to get the income you desire? How are you going to get the lifestyle you desire? How are you going to get the social life, your emotional life that you desire? For this reason, fear is something that has to be completely destroyed. Negativity is something that has to be completely purged once and for all. And the way to do that is not to focus more on fear. If you meet someone that is unconscious, you meet someone that reeks of fear, the way to eliminate the negativity is not by arguing. It's not by arguing opinions back and forth. It's not by quarreling. It's not by focusing on the negativity. The way to purge fear and negativity is to focus on strengths, like the affirmation I told you, focus on positivity. When you concentrate on the truth, when you concentrate on the ideal, all these other negative frequencies have to make way for the light, for the truth, which is you are whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, prosperous, and happy. Right? So that is my explanation of fear. It is based on what I read from the Master Key System. You can go check out the book yourself. It is a very old book, but its principles are timeless because it is based on the 7 Hermetic principles that govern our universe. Now, today at 5 p.m. Today, January, as of this recording, 23rd January, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time or 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's today, 5 p.m. Mountain Time or 7 p.m. Eastern Time. My success coach, Mark Jospitre, is conducting a 1 hour, what is up, Surya? A 1 hour masterclass on fear and paradigm. So in this video, hello brother, what is up? In this video, I'm just barely touching the surface. My point is just fear makes one unconscious and it makes one stays unconscious. That's why it's dangerous. It's doing the talking for you. It's doing the executing for you. And everywhere you go, you're like, I can't do this. I can't try that. I'm just going to stay here. That fear has consumed you, right? So I'm just bringing this to light so that you can catch yourself and you can observe this fear body for what it is. It's not real, right? Now, my success coach in that 1 hour of masterclass, what is up, pretty Korean girl? He is going to go deep into the science of how fear works and what you can do about your paradigm to deal with this issue once and for all, the scientific way. He's going to go deep, he's going to be scientific and show you how does fear operate and what can you do to remove it from your paradigm once and for all. Because once you become conscious of it, conscious of the science, what is upside, and conscious of how it works, you no longer have to struggle with these mental barriers that are holding you back, and you can move one level higher to play at your game. Remember, fear can come in many ways, shape, or form. It can make you procrastinate. It can make you doubt yourself. It can cause you to have days and weeks and months of lower self, just pulling your frequency down and impede you from getting to your next level. How can you perform at your highest level in your occupation, in your business, if You have all these lower self moments just creeping up all the time, giving you self-doubt, giving you a lack of discipline, making you lazy, and giving you a lack of focus, a lack of confidence. How can you go out there and crush your goals for 2019 when you don't understand your fear? So instead of letting fear control you, it's time to understand and see this shadow for what it is, so that moving forward, you never have to deal with these problems and these mental barriers again. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, I don't need this, I'm smarter than fear. Fear has no place in my life. When was the last time I felt scared? I only feel scared when I watch ghost movies, when I watch horror films. If you're thinking that to yourself, chances are you need to watch this webinar, because maybe fear has just outsmarted you by making you think that you do not experience fear. Like I say, fear doesn't mean just a fast pumping sensation in your heart. Fear doesn't mean that you feel nervous. Those are just your survival instincts kicking in. Fear is very, very sneaky. And if you want to execute at the top of your game, you need to see fear for what it really is and expel it once and for all. So this masterclass, it's a one-time only event. It's January 23rd, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The link to register for this one-time only webinar, this masterclass, is in the description below. Once you click on it, just fill up your name and your details. You will be given a link to join our private Facebook group. The video will be uploaded there, and if you missed the video, you can watch the replay, which you are highly encouraged to do. Watch it several times until you master what my success coach, Mark Jospitre, is going to share with you. After this event, you will see fear for what it is, and not only you will understand the science, but you will be able to master yourself at a whole new level. Because you will be able to see in you what is real and what you can control, and what is not real and what you can purge out, so that you can access your deeper potential and move up to your next level. Especially if you struggle with a lack of discipline, a lack of focus, right? You have lower self moments, you procrastinate, you have certain habits that you're stuck with, right? Maybe you want to quit smoking, maybe you want to quit drinking, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to sculpt your ideal physique, maybe you want to take your income to the next level, maybe you want to improve your self-image, maybe you want to become more confident. Now, if fear is inside you and being sneaky and creeping up on you all the time, then you're wasting your time going back and forth, and you're just not going to be your ideal person. Now, Agriegata Zupanova is saying, I couldn't sign in after your post yesterday. Now, use the link in my description below. Click on it, fill up your details, and register. If that doesn't work, write to me, drop me a DM. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can write to me or comment below. Write to me at team@seansena.com. That's team@seansena.com. You can even write to me at Telegram @Sean Sena. Right? Whatever you do, reach out to me and I will get you access to this one-time only webinar where you can see fear for what it truly is. So that's it for today's episode of Tonight with Sean. And I'm gonna leave this live video for a couple of more minutes. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and I will answer them right now. I'm going to leave this on for a couple more minutes. Let's see if I get any questions that can take this live video to a whole new level. Usually, the more fear a person has, and this can apply to you and me, the more confident their outer shell looks. The louder they speak, right? The louder their actions become. Because they don't want people to know that they're afraid. You see how sneaky fear can be? Fear comes in the form of telling you, I have arrived, I have enough. I am there. This is all I need. I don't need to get to the next level. I can be happy here. These are the things that fear can bring to you. And like I said, if this happens for too long a time, it consumes you, it becomes part of you, and you go around telling people basically the same story. Wonderful, wonderful question. I love it when they're quality questions. Now, Surya Upadhyaya is asking, how would I know if the issue is from lower self, or is it from fear of successing in that now? Let me repeat the question, all right? How would I know if the issue is coming from my lower self, or is it a fear of success? It's the same thing. Your lower self, so we have higher self and lower self, right? The lower self is basically your pain body, or your fear body, or your ego, always having all these negative thoughts, always having these pessimistic thoughts, always having this kind of negative, fearful language that says, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. Like, other people are here, and I'm here, and I will forever be here, and I'm kind of stuck here. So let's stay stuck, and let's stay undisciplined, and let's stay unfocused, and let's just fail. Let's be content. Let's be content, right? Let's just be happy, be humble, be poor, and just stay here, right? All these things are the same thing. Who are you and who am I to decide where is the limit to our potential in life? You're not qualified to decide that, and I am not qualified to decide that. No one knows where our potential is. No one can judge that. How can I say that, hey, you are at level 58 and I'm level 99? There's no level. Your potential and my potential is infinite. Which means that every time your lower self comes up and say negative things, that try to put limits on you and tell you that you can't do this, you can't be resourceful, all of these are coming from your lower self. All of these are coming from your unconscious self, right? And it's the same thing. It's telling you that if you succeed, it's a bad thing. So it's pretty much the same thing. It's making you unconscious. And it is dangerous, it is poisonous, and I'm not here to make a 30-minute video and just propagate all these negative words. There is a difference in being aware and spreading negativity, right? What is up, Liam? I'm not on this video to spread negativity. I'm here to bring it to light so that we can address it and we can purge and destroy it once and for all, so that we can be driven individuals. We can be focused individuals. We can execute daily consistently, happily, joyfully, from a position of strength, from a position of service. Now, wouldn't that make our life more happier and more productive? Wouldn't that make us more driven, successful, committed individuals? So wouldn't you agree with me that fear and negativity, as long as it exists in any way, shape, or form that doesn't help with our survival, we have to make do. We have to destroy it. We have to purge it. We have to expel it. And the first step to doing that is by understanding the science of how it works. You can't just imagine it away. You need to understand the science of how fear works. Why do humans experience fear? And what can we do to master it as opposed to letting it master us? That's why you need to attend this webinar. And it's free. It's just going to take an hour of your time. If you struggle with all these lower self thoughts, all these lower self moments, you have no excuse not to join this webinar, because my video is showing up on your feed for a reason, right? The universe is showing you this face for a reason. Now, Surya Upadhyaya is asking, please do correct me if my understanding is wrong, because of lower self, we would be fearing of taking action. Is that correct? Yes. Your lower self will come to you and say, hey dude, just chill. Take it easy. Go and have a nap. Right? Why work so hard? Go and sleep. That's what your lower self says. And it's not real. So yes, your lower self will make you afraid of taking action. it will make you love to procrastinate. That's what your lower self does. And if you face such challenges, it's because you don't know how fear operates. That's why you need to attend this webinar and understand why do these things happen. Aggregata Supernova is asking, did your parents help you with challenges in your childhood? So all parents have good intentions. Now, as for how these intentions are being expressed, that's a completely different matter. Now, you cannot expect every parent to get it right 10 out of 10 times every single time, but their intentions are good. As for the outcome, I cannot guarantee you that every one of them worked well, right? No one is going to get it right all the time. But I can tell you, being in a traditional Asian society, mistakes are very seldom encouraged, right? As opposed to the Western hygiene where, if you fail forward, you learn. Now, being in an Asian society, mistakes are less encouraged, right? So you tend to have this fear of making mistakes. What if I fail my exams? What if I fail my test? What if I make a mistake in the exam? What if I say the wrong things? You tend to think of these things, and this is cultural. This is a society programming kind of thing. So I would say that it took me a long time to realize that I take mistakes very personally, and I take failure very personally. And because of that, every mistake I make, my confidence would drop. Every mistake I make, my confidence would drop. And then I realized that doesn't make sense. I should be independent of my mistakes. I can make 5 mistakes and still be here. I can make 10 mistakes and still be here. Right? Doing sports helped me to realize that, right? Because when I play badminton and I make errors, I tell myself it's okay. The game is 21 points per set. It's okay to errors come from time to time. As long as I'm not affected, I can win the big points. I can win when it matters. It's okay, so that it doesn't affect you, right? How does that? So Liam Lake is asking, how does that scare of mistakes affect the culture? I'm actually interested. Now you're not from Singapore, right? In like a traditional Asian society, when you make mistakes, people want to hold you responsible, right? People take mistakes very seriously. So as a culture, it's like, why did you screw up? Why did you screw up, right? So as a whole, then you living in such an environment, you start to become worried that if you make mistakes, if you fail, what's other people going to think of you? When actually, if you become an entrepreneur, you realize that mistakes are the way to learn. The faster you fail forward, the faster you can understand how the game is played, and then you can win. It's about quitting fast. Unfortunately, growing up, I was like, I cannot fail my tests, I cannot fail my exams, I got to perform, I cannot say the wrong things, I can't make mistakes. So you tend to want to be this perfect person that society wants you to be, which is not ideal. You have to fail and embrace failure and learn from the failure, right? I only learned that after I did sports and I did martial arts, and I realized that, wait a minute, mistakes are a good thing, right? You don't have to be afraid of it. Move towards the fear, move towards the pain, and once you embrace it and you see it for what it is, it doesn't exist. I'm going to leave this on for a couple more minutes and see if there are any more good questions. This is probably the first live video that has so many good questions. The long story short is that fear is not real, and if you must use it, make it your ally, make it your friend. Right? Every time it comes up, see it as fuel for your consciousness to consume, to burn, so that you become more conscious. You get more experience, right? You get more confident. You get more grounded. You get more sure of yourself. Because now you're feeling, okay, yes, I'm feeling something, but I can move towards it, right? I can understand it. I can calm myself down and give it a shot. If I screw up, I screw up. Right? So that is my experience and understanding of fear. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. When you attend the masterclass itself, you will receive the exact sign of why humans experience fear and what can we do about our paradigm to deal with it once and for all. It's going to be life-changing because you will never see your fears and you will never see your lower self the same way again. And it's free. And if you're struggling with all these lower self moments, there is absolutely no reason for you not to attend. So click on the link in the description below. Register yourself. If you cannot get in, message me and I will give you access. Right? Click on the link in the description. Okay, no further questions. I'm going to call it a day. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so every time I release a episode on Tonight with Sean, you get notified. If you know of a friend that is struggling with fear and lower self moments, remember to tag them in this video or give the link to this video to them. You never know whose life you can change when you take an action like that. So I had fun making this video. Any questions? If you are watching this at a later time, just send it to me. You can write to me at team@seansena.com or Telegram @SeanSena, and I will answer your questions. So that is it for tonight's episode of Tonight with Sean. I had a great time and I'm looking forward to see you on my next live video. So cheers and have a good day, guys.